I want to say this up front. I always believed you when you warned people that your sister had a habit of lying, that she had a long history of bending facts to suit her needs. But this time, she has crossed a line she can't step back from, hasn't she, Sam? Yes, that's exactly it. And honestly, this time, she's in real danger. The public focus on Meghan Markle sharpened dramatically after the release of her most recent photo series, images that quickly ignited an unexpected firestorm. What should have been a straightforward promotional rollout instead became the center of intense scrutiny. Observers began questioning whether the Duchess of Sussex's appearance aligned with her publicly stated birth year of 1981. What started as casual online skepticism soon transformed into a serious credibility crisis when investigative journalist Tom Bauer publicly announced that he possessed official administrative documents revealing discrepancies in her recorded age. According to these documents, during the early phase of her acting career in Hollywood, Meghan allegedly listed her birth year as 1977. At the time, this may have been a calculated move to secure more mature roles in an industry that often penalizes women for youth as much as age. What may have once been a survival tactic now resurfaced as a potentially explosive accusation of falsified records. With the risk of this controversy spilling over and damaging the monarchy's reputation, Prince William made a firm decision. This was not a moment for passive defense. It was a moment for containment. Kensington Palace swiftly released a statement asserting that the vetting process conducted at the time of the Sussex wedding was lawful and compliant with existing standards. But the real impact came from what followed. The palace clarified that it had no involvement in, oversight of, or responsibility for Meghan's professional records or personal declarations made during her time working in Hollywood. By explicitly distancing itself from those earlier records, the royal household drew a clear boundary. It refused to endorse or defend inconsistencies tied to the Duchess's past. Would Meghan's familiar strategy of positioning herself as a victim once again protect her from undeniable numerical discrepancies? Was William's deliberate silence a form of punishment, or the final blow to her public credibility? And when everything finally settled, whose reputation would ultimately be buried by the truth surrounding the year 1977? Meghan hurled her iPad onto a nearby chair, the dull impact echoing through the large but eerily quiet living room. She rose abruptly and began pacing back and forth, her restless movements mirroring the turmoil inside her mind. Beneath her newly released portrait series, thousands of comments continued to flood in at an overwhelming pace. The images were meant to promote her latest lifestyle venture. They showcased her radiant smile and carefully applied makeup designed to appear effortless and natural. Her team had spent countless hours refining lighting, softening shadows, and minimizing fine lines. But the audience did not focus on the positivity or the messaging. They focused on what no amount of editing could fully conceal. The skin around her eyes, the structure of her jaw. A verified account claiming to belong to a Beverly Hills cosmetic physician posted a detailed analysis that reached 50,000 shares within 2 hours. According to the post, the visible biological aging matched women nearing their 50s. Loss of neck elasticity and pronounced nasolabial folds, the account argued, were inconsistent with the age of 44. Cosmetic procedures may have been involved, but time itself could not be erased. Meghan clenched her hands so tightly that her nails pressed painfully into her palms. Criticism of her looks did not scare her. That narrative could always be reframed into misogyny, into society's cruelty toward women and mothers. What truly terrified her was the name now dominating headlines across London's major newspapers. A name that transformed gossip about wrinkles into an attack on her integrity. Tom Bauer, the veteran investigative reporter, a relentless hunter of Britain's elite, a man whose words were never printed without proof. He had no interest in debating beauty standards. He went straight for the core. In his cramped London office, lined with aging books and yellowed papers, Bauer typed the final sentence of his social media post. An old folder lay open beside him, its pages brittle with age. He needed no illicit methods, no digital espionage. All it took was patience, the kind required to sift through forgotten archives belonging to American acting unions. He lifted a casting document dated 1999 and studied it beneath his desk lamp. There it was, a neat signature, and a number Meghan believed had vanished forever. "The issue isn't appearance," he wrote. "It's a pattern of dishonesty within official records." Each sentence landed with the force of a hammer striking a coffin lid. He attached a blurred image of part of the document. Enough to reveal the anomaly, not enough to expose everything. A calculated tease. "I have the records. The birth year shifts depending on the role. And the British royal family is sheltering a ticking legitimacy problem." The story exploded instantly. Editors from major outlets flooded Meghan's representatives with urgent calls. The questions sent to the Archwell Foundation grew sharper by the hour. Requests for skincare tips vanished. In their place came demands for proof. Where is the original birth certificate? Why does a 4-year discrepancy appear in casting documents from 1999? Did the palace know about records listing 1977? Meghan turned toward Harry, who sat silently nearby, exhaustion etched across his face. His eyes reflected confusion and deep concern. "They're coming for me again," she said, her voice shaking. "It's Bauer. He wants to destroy everything I am. He wants to paint me as a fraud." Harry hesitated, then spoke, trying to sound resolute. "I'll call William. The palace has to step in. They vetted everything when we married. One statement from the press office will shut this down." Hope flickered briefly in Meghan's eyes. "Yes, the palace is the strongest shield in the world. If they confirm the 1981 record, Bauer becomes a liar. The monarchy cannot allow a prince's wife to be branded a perjurer. That stain would spread to the entire institution." But in her panic, she overlooked one crucial reality. The person truly in control at Kensington Palace was no longer the gentle grandmother nor the peace-seeking father. It was William, and William did not see her as family to be protected. He saw her as a threat that had to be surgically removed. In London, Kensington Palace remained silent. William stood at his desk, 2 files laid out before him. One was the official wedding dossier from 2018, bound in red leather, stamped with gold. Inside were documents stating Meghan Markle, born August 4, 1981. This was the legal truth accepted at the time. The second file was thinner, filled with grainy photocopies gathered after Bauer's post. A shadow from the past. William paused at a casting form from the late 1990s. He understood immediately. Hollywood was unforgiving. Age could destroy careers overnight. Listing 1977 may have opened doors that 1981 could not. It had once been a harmless lie, but stepping into the palace changed everything. What was once survival became deception of the crown. When the secretary entered with news of Harry's calls, William listened calmly. He closed the file with a sharp sound. "If we confirm 1981, we must explain 1977, he said. "And if Bauer is certain, defending her means undermining ourselves. Silence is no longer safety." William ordered a firewall strategy. Protect the dynasty. Isolate the risk. The palace statement was released precisely at 10 a.m. No press conference. Just words. Carefully chosen. The palace affirmed the legality of documents used in 2018. And then, crucially, disclaimed all responsibility for her prior professional records. At first, her supporters celebrated. But Bauer understood immediately. It wasn't protection. It was abandonment. Meghan read the statement again and again. She knew what it meant. If she were innocent, the palace would have denied everything outright. They hadn't. Realizing she was alone, she turned to emotion. Tears became her final weapon. A special podcast episode followed. She avoided numbers. She cried. She reframed the issue as ageism, sexism, cruelty. The reaction was explosive. Supporters rallied. Hashtags trended. For a moment, she seemed to regain control. But emotion fades. Questions remain. Why not show the birth certificate? Why avoid the simplest answer? Doubt settled in quietly, permanently. Brands withdrew. Contracts vanished. Trust collapsed. William appeared publicly unshaken. The firewall worked. And in Montecito, Meghan sat alone before her mirror, the weight of time staring back at her. She had noise. She had sympathy. But she had lost credibility. William didn't destroy her. He simply stepped aside, and without the shield of the crown, her own past became her prison. Do you believe Meghan is truly without shame? Do you think her aging is natural or artificially delayed? Share your thoughts below. Like, share, and subscribe for more. Click the next video on your screen. You'll enjoy it.